بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين وعلى من تبع هداهم إلى يوم الدين. After praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and passing salutation upon his messenger Muhammad, may peace and blessings be upon him, we go ahead with the 7th session regarding the etiquettes of the supplication and the dua. And before I start, I would like to thank all these brothers who had sent me messages that they were affected and moved by the story of Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu, which we have narrated in our last session. And to continue with this, inshallah, it could be today the second to last class regarding the dua. It depends, because I'm planning to talk about the du'as of the companions and also the du'as of the parents and also the du'as of those people who are pious. So, as we said, the Prophet ﷺ, he said that the dua of the believer is responded to either straight away, or it will be kept for him for later on, or it will be pushed away something which is equivalent. That Allah Azza wa Jal will give him something or push an evil from him which is equivalent to his supplication. So the Prophet ﷺ, he taught his companions to make the dua, and the dua, we said, is the ibadah. It's actually one of the greatest ibadah because it shows the humility of the person, shows how much he's in need for the Allah, the Almighty subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it shows that he is a person, he cannot survive without that supplication. That's why the dua is important. And the Prophet ﷺ told us that Allah Azza wa Jal will be not happy. Allah will be angry for those who do not make supplication to him. We have one of these companions, Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas radiyallahu anhu. Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas is one of the two companions whom the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam had given the sacrificial of his father and mother for them. He said to them, Fidaka Abi wa Ummi. Only two companions. One, which is Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, Sa'd ibn Malik, his name. Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas is famous for that name, radiyallahu anhu, whom the Prophet combined his both father and mother for him, and that is in the battle of Uhud. And the other companion is Zubayr ibn al-Awwam, whom the Prophet ﷺ also combined his father and mother for him definitely in the battle of Al-Khandaq, but also he said himself that the Prophet of Allah combined the parents of his as a sacrificial for me in the battle of Uhud. So Zubayr ibn al-Awwam in the battle of Al-Khandaq definitely, and also he says in the battle of Uhud, but we know definitely as well in the battle of Uhud, the Prophet ﷺ, he said to him, Irmi ya Sa'd, throw Sa'd with his arrows, because his arrows was hitting the target. He even told the companions the battle of Uhud, everybody brings his arrows and give it to Sa'd. And the Prophet of Allah would give it to him and prepare it for him, and he would say, Irmi Sa'd, fidaka abi wa ummi. I sacrifice my father and my mother for you. Sa'd ibn Waqqas radiyallahu anhu, he is the one whom the Prophet of Allah, he said, Allahumma stajib li du'ai Sa'd. Or Allahumma stajib li Sa'din idha da'ak. O Lord, fulfill the supplication of Sa'd if he calls upon you. Sa'd radiyallahu anhu, in a story which I'm going to narrate, he made a supplication which Allah fulfilled straight away. Sa'd radiyallahu anhu, in the reign of the Khilafah of Umar al-Khattab, he put him as in charge of Kufa. Kufa is in Iraq. And he was not just the mayor of Kufa, but also he was the person who would lead the prayer. The people started to complain to Umar al-Khattab about Sa'd, that he's not able to pray properly or lead them and somehow in the prayer properly. So what he did, Umar al-Khattab, before he takes his decision completely, he had sacked Sa'd temporarily to call for him. Remember, Kufa is far off from the Medina, which is the headquarters. And he put Ammar ibn Yasir radiallahu anh as a substitute to lead until he investigates in the matter. So when he came to Umar al-Khattab, so he asked him, the leader of the Bid'ah, Umar al-Khattab, he asked him, Ya Aba Ishaq, which is the kunya of Sa'd ibn Waqqas. He said, those people whom I put you in charge of, they're claiming that you are not leading them in the prayer properly. So Sa'd ibn Waqqas, he said, verily, O leader of the believers, I used to lead them in the prayer just like the prayer of the Prophet ﷺ, and I would not hesitate to pray any other prayer than the prayer which I've learned from the Messenger of Allah. I pray for them Salat al-Isha, and I would prolong the first 2 rak'ah, and I will make the following 2 rak'ah to be shorter. So Umar al-Khattab, he said, well, this is what I think about you, nothing more than that. So what he did, he sent him along with 2 men, or along with a man, to Kufa to investigate more. This man, he started in the masajid of Kufa to ask about, what do you think of Sa'd? He did not leave a masjid there, because he used to lead in all the masajid of Kufa. All the masajid, they were praising Sa'd. Nothing there. Except for one masjid which belongs to the tribe of Banu Abs. This is the only masjid. And it shows that is the whole complaint just came from one masjid. Not only that, for one person. That man, when he was, amongst these people being asked, he said, well, and his name, Usama ibn Qatada, and he was being as well, his kunya Abu Sa'da, he said, for verily, if you have asked us regarding Sa'd, he does not lead us in the expedition, in the army. That means he's a coward. And whenever we have the war booty, he does not divide it in justice equally. And also when he arbitrates or judge in a matter, he is tyrant or unjust. Sa'd, he said, verily, Ama wallah, by Allah, and this is like a threat to him, I'm gonna now make a supplication. So he's giving him the time to retreat from what he said. I'm gonna call upon Allah with 3 things. But the guy did not retreat. He said, oh Lord, if you're this person of yours, if this slave of yours, oh Lord, he is a liar, and he stood up just to show off, then prolong his lifespan and increase his life in poverty, means prolong his time or his period of being a poor person, and expose him to the fitna. After that supplication, he used to, when he got old, he became like a person who is, after ladies. And he was saying, Da'wah, supplication of Sa'd got me. Abdul Malik, one of the narrators, he said, I have seen this man with his eyebrows falling into his eyes, a sign of really being old. Yet he was a person winking the women in the roads and all of that. Imagine like an 80 years old, 70 years old is after the ladies and after the women. That's disgraceful. So this person, subhanallah, he had lied, and he deserved what he got. Because Sa'd, he said to him, verily, if you come liar, I'm going to call upon Allah with 3 things. So if you have been wronged with somebody, your supplication has no barrier between it and the Almighty Azza wa Jal. And those person who's tyrant and unjust, you have to be careful. Even if you are unjust towards a person who is a kafir, make sure that you're not going to be unjust. Listen to this. Sa'd himself, he says. He said, a person who spoke ill about Ali ibn Abi Talib. Basically, he had spoken something which would touch the honor of Ali radiallahu anhu. So Sa'd ibn Malik, he made a supplication against him. So what happened after that? A she camel or a male camel, one of the narrations is correct, he came and killed that person whom he had supplicated against him. So Sa'd straight away, he freed a slave in the sake of Allah. And then he made an oath. Oh Lord, I will never supplicate against anyone. Because he saw his supplication is being fulfilled. Oh Lord, punish that person who had spoke ill about Ali. Straight away, a camel came and killed that person. Straight away, Sa'd, he had freed a slave for the sake of Allah. He said, "Oh Lord," and he made an oath. "I abide myself and I'm not going to call you, O Lord, against anyone." Al-Bara ibn Malik. Al-Bara ibn Malik, he is the brother of Anas ibn Malik radiallahu anhu. Bara ibn Malik is whom the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he's, by the way, as I said, the brother of Malik, the son of Sulaym. He's the one whom the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, "Kam min ash'atin aghbarin dhi timrayn." How many people you find from those people who have uncombed hair? He never combed his hair or hardly combs his hair, and dusted. Dhi timrayn, he's got clothes which are nothing. La yu'balu lah. Nobody is paying attention to him. He's not from those senior people or the ones who've got ranks and all of that. If he's to make an oath upon Allah Azza wa Jal, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will fulfill his oath. One of them is Al-Bara ibn Malik. The companions heard this from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So now comes to a story where he was participating and he was a courageous man. Even Umar al-Khattab would not employ Sa'd Al-Bara ibn Malik, the brother of Anas, he would not employ him to lead in the expedition because he's afraid that he will, expose the army to danger, because he's always courageous and he always puts himself into the front and he always, fights and engages and he always advances. So Umar al-Khattab is worried about that this guy's going to take everybody to, to a situation where they're going to be exposed to be killed. Very courageous person. He had participated in all the battles after the Battle of Badr. He missed the Battle of Badr because he was young. Radiallahu anhu wa ardah. He even participated in the Harb al-Ridda, the apostasy war. Al-Bara radiallahu anhu, in one of these battles, basically the Muslims had a conflict and they are engaging now with the enemies until the upper hand was for the kuffar. So the upper hand was the kuffar, the mushrikeen, against the Muslims. So the companions who had heard the words of the Prophet said, "Ya Bara, oh Bara, the Prophet, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said to you that if you make an oath upon Allah, Allah will fulfill your oath." So he said, "Aqsamtu alayka ya Rab, I make an oath upon you, O Lord, that to grant us their shoulders." That means to make us in pursuit of them. They're going to be running and we are after them. So they on a bridge, basically, they engaged again. And still, mushrikeen, they have the upper hand. So they said, "Come on, Ya Bara, call upon Allah." So he said, "Oh Lord, I make an oath upon you, Lord, that you grant us their shoulders. And you make me to follow your Prophet." That means to die. وَالْحِقْنِي بِنَبِيِّكَ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ. Straight away, Allah Azza wa Jal made the war to be turned over. The winning side now is the Muslim. Not only that, Al-Bara ibn Malik is to be killed as a martyr. So this is Sa'd ibn al-Waqqas, and we had also now Al-Bara ibn Malik. We have another Sa'd. Sa'd ibn Mu'adh, Sayyid al-Aws. You have Aws and Khazraj. The leader of Al-Khazraj, Sa'd ibn Ubadah. The leader of Aws, Sa'd ibn Mu'adh. And Aws and Khazraj, both, they are comprising the word Ansar. Ansar, the inhabitants of Medina. Ansar al-Medina is Al-Aws wal-Khazraj. This person, whom the Prophet ﷺ said regarding him when he had died, اهتز العرش لموت سعد بن معاذ. The throne of Allah moved. He was responded. He was in shock for the death of Sa'd ibn Mu'adh radiallahu anhu. Aisha radiallahu anha, she narrates for us on the day of the trench, Battle of the Trench. If you want to go back to the Battle of the Trench, refer to the stories regarding the biography of the Prophet ﷺ, the Battle of the Trench. One person called Hibban ibn al-Ariqah, he took an arrow and he threw it against Sa'd on the other side. And he said, "Khudha wa ana ibn al-Ariqah." Take it, and I am the son of al-Ariqah. Basically, that he's boasting, and somehow that arrow went into his artery, I don't know what you call that vein. There's something there which is linked to your life. As soon as you hit it, if you cut it there, you're dead. I can't remember the name of it, but there is a name for it in medically. If somebody's a doctor is listening, please could help us. The vein there inside, if you cut it, it's your lifeline basically. So he called upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, "Oh Lord, don't make me die, then make me to die until I'm satisfied to what is going to take place to Banu Qurayza." Why? Because Banu Qurayza are the Jews who are surrounding the Medina who betrayed. And they are supposed to be in agreement with the Prophet ﷺ to protect the southern side of Medina. So the kuffar had to go from the north, and that's where the trench is. And the southern side is the one which is opposite to the side of Mecca. So they betrayed. They betrayed, and the story is well known. When Huyay al-Akhtab, he went to Ka'b al-Quradi and they allied themselves and betrayed. So now when Abu Sufyan, he'd left, and also Uyayna ibn Badr, and he left as well from the Arabs, and they left all of them because Allah Azza wa Jal defeated them with the gusting wind. They couldn't stay there. So Banu Qurayza on their own now. Now Banu Qurayza were allies to Sa'd ibn Mu'adh before in Jahiliyyah, before Islam, before Muhammad ﷺ came to them. So he said, "Oh Lord, don't make me to die until I am satisfied of what is going to take place to these betrayals, these treacherous." So that wound, which is a death wound, somehow stopped gushing blood because of his supplication. And Allah's Messenger commanded for a tent, like a nursing tent, to be set in the masjid in order to care for Sa'd ibn Mu'adh until he's going to be healthy. And the Prophet ﷺ, he went to his house. Angel Jibreel salam, he said to him, "Messenger of Allah, did you just stop war? Did you just?" He said, "Yes." He said, "Well, the angel haven't stopped the war yet. Forget it. But go now to Banu Qurayza and let's fight them." So straight away the Prophet ﷺ, he put back his armor and he commanded to go in the direction of Banu Qurayza. He passed by people called Banu Ghan, and he said to them, "Who passed by you?" They said, "Dihya al-Kalbi." Dihya al-Kalbi, he is a companion who looks like Jibreel salam. So straight away the Prophet ﷺ, he knew that Jibreel salam passed by the way. So he came to Banu Qurayza and he had put the siege on them for 25 days. And after all their failing attempt to get away, they they surrendered. They surrendered. And they said, okay, they gave him the option now to surrender on the rule or the decision of the Prophet ﷺ. Abu Lubaba ibn al-Mundhir, he said, it's going to be death. So he said, okay, we will not accept to be surrendering except on what Sa'd ibn Mu'adh to decide. Because Sa'd, remember, he had some sort of relationship with them. They used to take from them and from him, and marriages were taking place. So they thought maybe Sa'd is a better option. So the Prophet ﷺ accepted. And he sent for Sa'd to be carried from that tent. So he was carried on a donkey. And as soon as Sa'd approached, he was passing by people from the Ansar, saying to him, "Ya Aba Amr," which is the kunya of Sa'd ibn Mu'adh, "they are your allies. They are the ones who you've been having slaves from them, and mawalik. You are the ones they are the one who set slaves from you as well. And you are, they are the ones who have been helping." And he's not even giving them any answers, ignoring them. He said, "Ana li Sa'd." It is time for Sa'd that he will not be having to do it, that he will not have no hesitation regarding the Almighty subhanahu wa ta'ala to do what he thinks is right. Soon as he approached, the Prophet ﷺ told the companions, "Qumu ila sayyidikum fa'anzilu." Go to your master and make him to descend. Now, qumu ila, not qumu li. There's the difference between the two words. Qumu ila, that means stand up for your master to get him off, to dismount from the donkey. It is not qumu li, that means stand up for the respect of your Sayyid. No, that's why some of those people who would like them, when they come to a majlis, a gathering, they like people to stand up for them. And they use this hadith. You say, no, this hadith does not really support you. This hadith, because this person, he was injured, Sa'd ibn Mu'adh, and the companion stood, for him to go and help him to dismount. It's not as a sign of reverence. And the Prophet ﷺ, he doesn't like anybody to stand to anybody. And he said, "Man arada an yatamathala lahu an-nasu qiyaman falyatabawwa maq'adahu min an-nar." If any person would like people to stand up for him every time that he comes in, then let him prepare himself a seat in the hellfire. And even Anas, he said, we know that no one deserves to be standing up for, and no one deserves for us to stand up for him, except for the Prophet ﷺ. But we don't do that because we know that he doesn't like this. So when the person comes in, we don't stand up unless he's a guest coming from somewhere else and we're going to go and meet him and hug him and all of this. But because we're sitting down and somebody there came because he's a sheikh or he's known to be a senior person who's got lots of money in his pocket, no, that is the one who creates classification classes between the people. So this narration says, "Qumu ila sayyid," stand up to go and help your master to dismount. So they went. And Umar al-Khattab, upon hearing, he said, "Sayyidun Allah. Allah is our Sayyid." Then the Prophet said, go and just mismount him. Sayyid, Sayyid is your master. But Umar al-Khattab said, "Sayyidun Allah. Allah is our master. And he's a Sayyidullah." And this is the answer of the Prophet ﷺ. When they said, "You are Sayyiduna," he said, "Sayyidullah. Sayyidullah." But no problem said Sayyiduna Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sayyiduna Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We don't say that in the prayer, "Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad." We say, "Allahumma salli ala Muhammad." Why? Because the Prophet taught us like this in the prayer. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said to Sa'd ibn Mu'adh, "Give your decision regarding these people." So he said, "My decision regarding them, that their fighters is to be killed, and their children and their wives to be given as booty, and their money to be divided." Prophet ﷺ, he said, "You have rule in the rule of Allah and His Messenger." Then he made a supplication against Sa'd. He said, "Oh Lord, if you have left any war with the Prophet ﷺ from Quraysh, make me to live for that war. Otherwise, take me to you." Soon as he said it, and Allah did not leave any war after this. This was the last battle, because the regaining of Mecca, which they call it conquest of Mecca, what happened is that there was no war. He entered the Prophet and he surrendered. So there was no war. It was the last thing. So straight away, as soon as he said this dua, that wound, what he was in his hand, started gushing back again. So the Prophet ﷺ, he commanded for him to be sent back to his tent in the masjid. And verily the Prophet of Allah is there, Abu Bakr is there, and Umar is there. Aisha, she said, "By Allah, by the one in whose hand is my soul, I know the crying of Abu Bakr from the crying of Umar while I'm in my room." Because her room is stuck to the masjid, remember. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he said, "Ruhama'u baynahum." These are the companions. Muhammadur Rasulullah. وَالَّذِينَ مَعَهُ. These are the ones who are, Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. And the ones who are with him, they are merciful amongst themselves, severe against the enemies of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. أشداء على الكفار رحماء بينهم تراهم ركعا سجدا يبتغون فضلا من الله ورضوانا, to the end of the verse. So Allah fulfilled the supplication of Sa'd, and He made him to be settled and satisfied regarding what took place to Banu Qurayza, the ones who had betrayed. Anas ibn Malik radiallahu anhu tells us now what happened to Sa'd. The janazah of Sa'd, the corpse of Sa'd. The hypocrites were, some of them, because they pretend to be Muslims, like the Muslims, they were carrying his janazah, and they were saying how light it is. I mean, the janazah is not really, it's hardly they're really lifting it up, very light. Subhanallah. Prophet ﷺ, upon hearing this, he said, "Inna al-malaikata kanat tahmilu." Verily, the angels were carrying him. That's why his janazah was light. Allah, 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 Allah. Now this is the supplication of, look at these companions. Sa'd ibn Mu'adh, Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, and also Al-Bara ibn Malik, and also we have talked about Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu. Sa'id ibn Zayd, the cousin of Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu, one of the 10 companions being given glad tidings of paradise. Sa'id ibn Zayd. A woman, she lied against him, and she had said and claimed, which is falsely, that him, Sa'id ibn Zayd, had taken a portion of her land. So he said, Allahumma in kanat hiya kadhiba. Oh Lord, if she was to be a liar, فَعَمِّ بَصَرَهَا, make her to be blind. وَاقْتُلْهَا فِي أَرْضِهَا, and kill her in her land. So what happened to her? That she got blind. And she was walking her land and there was a hole. And she fell into her hole and she died. Allah Azza wa Jal fulfilled her call. Another person, he was making his dua in his prayer just before salutation. Allahumma inni as'aluka ya Allah. Oh Lord, I ask you. Oh Lord, ya Allah. Allahumma inni as'aluka ya Allah. Oh Lord, I ask you, ya Allah. Al-Wahid al-Ahad, As-Samad. The Wahid, Al-Ahad. Al-Wahid al-Ahad means the one. Al-Ahad al-Samad, the sustainer. Alladhi lam yalid wa lam yulad, the one who does not give birth, nor he was born. وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدًا, and there is no one similar to him. أَن تَغْفِرَ لِي ذُنُوبِي, that is to forgive for me my sins. إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْغَفُورُ رَحِيمُ, you are the oft forgiving, the oft merciful. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said, قَدْ غُفِرَ لَهُ, قَدْ غُفِرَ لَهُ, قَدْ غُفِرَ لَهُ, 3 times. Supplication is fulfilled, supplication is fulfilled, supplication is fulfilled. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had prompted us to make the dua, and the dua will help. The dua, you're not going to be a loser if you make a dua. Don't forget about the dua. And Allah Azza wa Jal, He would fulfill the dua to those who are awliya. And this is the part I want to talk about, is awliya. The one who's closer to Allah, He will fulfill His dua to them, just like the prophets, just like the companions, and even other than the prophets and the companions. Prophet ﷺ, he said in the Hadith al-Qudsi, which is Hadith Sahih, Inna Allah qala Azza wa Jal, Allah said subhanahu wa ta'ala, Man aada li waliyan faqad aadhantuhu bil harb. He who had declared, or he had declared enmity to one of my lovers, to my allies, then I have declared against him war. Then وَمَا تَقَرَّبَ إِلَيَّ عَبْدِي بِشَيْءٍ أَحَبَّ إِلَيَّ مِمَّا افْتَرَضْتُهُ عَلَيْهِ. And my slave, he never got closer to me than anything that is I have made obligatory upon him. So the best of things that you could get closer to Allah with is to fulfill His obligations. وَمَا يَزَالُ عَبْدِي يَتَقَرَّبُ إِلَيَّ بِالنَّوَافِلِ حَتَّى أُحِبَّهُ. And my slave, he keeps getting closer to me by making the nawafil. Nawafil here, supererogatory ibadah, voluntary ibadah, sunnah ibadah, they call it. حَتَّى أُحِبَّ, until I love him. فَإِذَا أَحْبَبْتُهُ كُنْتُ سَمْعَهُ الَّذِي يَسْمَعُ بِهِ. If I love him, Allah, if He loves you, then I will be the hearing that you hear with. So that means you will hear what pleases Allah. وَبَصَرَهُ الَّذِي يُبْصِرُ بِهِ, and his sight that he sees with it. That means you will not see except what pleases Allah. وَيَدَهُ الَّتِي يَبْطِشُ بِهَا, and his hand, the one that he will use in order to defend himself or to attack somebody with it. And that means you have the hands of the power of Allah. وَرِجْلَهُ الَّتِي يَمْشِي بِهَا, and his foot that he walks with it. That means you will not walk, you will not do with your hand except what pleases Allah Azza wa Jalla. وَإِن سَأَلَنِي لَأُعْطِيَنَّ, and if he has to ask me, I will give him. وَلَئِنِ اسْتَعَاذَنِي لَأُعِيذَنَّ, and if he's to seek refuge from me, then I will give him refuge. So this is the awliya of Allah Azza wa Jalla. Let's go to a story where we have a wali, he's asking the Almighty subhanahu wa ta'ala, which most of you know the story. This is the story of the young boy who worked for this magician, which is in Surah Al-Buruj. السماء ذات البروج واليوم الموعود والشاهد ومشهود. The story says, the Prophet said that there was a king in the long times, and he had a magician, a sorcerer. When the sorcerer got old, he said to the king, verily I got old, so send me a boy, a young person, so I could train him the magic. Because the magic and the sorcery basically is the way that these kings used to make the people afraid of them, make them to obey them. Okay, so it's all of it, falsehood and lies and all of this. So the king, he had chosen for him a boy in order for this sorcerer to teach him. Now this boy, he lived somehow far off, and every time he goes to the sorcerer, he passes by a monk, like a sheikh, and he used to sit to him and listen to his words. And when he listened to his words, he liked it, because he's talking about tawheed, monotheism, whereas the other person is a sorcerer. He used to talk about kufr and shirk. So every time he goes to the sorcerer, he passes by this the monk and this sheikh, and he will tell him, قال Allah, قال Rasul Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So tawheed. Now, because of that, he gets late. to arrive to the sorcerer. So the sorcerer would beat him up. And because he's late to the sorcerer, he's late as well, coming back to his what? To his family. So he went to the monk and he told him what's happening. He said, okay, if you're afraid of the sorcerer, then you say to them, well, you know, my family had made me to be and delayed me to come to you. And if you're afraid of your family, then tell them, for verily, that the sorcerer had delayed me from coming to you. He's the one who's the reason. So this is lying, which is permissible. Why? Because there's an upper goal here, which is that he wants to learn from the Sheikh the Tawheed. So tell them, okay, that you've been delayed by, and actually it could be correct somehow, because when he was delayed by the when he spent time with the Sheikh, he went to the sorcerer and stayed with the sorcerer. So you could say that the sorcerer made me to be late, because you could have just let him to go earlier. So it's not, we call it the al-ma'arid, ambiguous words, means more than one meaning. So somehow the boy wanted to know, where is the haqiqah, the facts lies. He said, with the sorcerer, was it with a monk? One day he went and there was a big beast blocking the people from passing through. So he said, today I will know whether the sorcerer better or the monk, the sheikh. So he took a stone and he said, oh Lord, if the monk is dearer to you than this sorcerer, oh Lord, make this beast to be killed so that the people would pass through. So he used the stone, he threw it, and he killed it. And the people started passing through. So he knew now that his heart is telling him, it's not just, but this is just more emphasis. So he went to the Sheikh and he told him what happened. So he said to him, Sheikh, he said to him, son, today you are better than me. That means I cannot do like this. Your supplication was fulfilled 100%. You know, when you see somebody's supplication to be fulfilled, that means it's closer to Allah than you are. He said, you are better than me today. And your matter now had reached this level of taqwa. And because of this, you're going to be tested. And this is another issue. The more higher in deen, the more closer to Allah, you're going to be tested. So don't you ever think that because I became sheikh, I'll be easy life. No, it will be more tests for you. So if you're going to be tested now, you're going to be punished because of what you have adopted now. Don't you ever tell people where I am. Don't tell them where I am. Now, Allah Azza wa Jal gave him even extra things. This boy started now giving sight to the one who's blind, healing the leopard. Just like Isa used to give healing the leprosy, he used to heal lepers. And he used to give medicine to the people. But at the same time, he would tell the people, I am not the one who's giving the medicine. I am not the one who's curing, is the Almighty Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. The one of the confidant of the king, which is the one with the king and gives him consultation. And he was blind. He heard about this person. So this boy, so he came to him with lots and lots of gifts. And he said to him, everything is yours as long as you give me cure. You get me my sight back. So he said to him, I don't give cure to anybody. It's the Almighty Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. I'm sorry, I'm just going to take this. It is the Almighty Azza wa Jal. If you believe in Allah, I will call upon Allah and Allah will cure you, not me. So the person, he believed in Allah. So he's not believer in the king to be his Lord. And Allah gave him the cure by the permission of Allah. So if you look at this, subhanAllah, this young boy, he is in his young and youth age, he's calling to what? To Tawheed. He is a sheikh, even is young, calling to Tawheed. Now, as soon as the confidant, the one who was close to the king, came to the king, straight away the king was shocked. He said to him, who did give you this sight back? He said, my Lord. He said, do you have a Lord apart from me? He said, yes, my Lord and your Lord is Allah. Straight away he started punishing him. He wanted him to be punished until he had pointed who is the one who had made him to say these words, who had taught him this Tawheed, which is the boy. So the boy brought the boy. So he said to him, oh, your sorcery had reached a level that you could cure the people from their blindness. And you as well heal the lepers and you do such and such and such. He said, I don't cure anybody. It's only Allah. So he started punishing him and torturing him until he had told about the monk, the sheikh. So the sheikh, you see, that's why, even regardless of how good you are, sometimes under punishment and threat, you think maybe, he said, maybe if I tell about the sheikh will not, he will help me or something like this, but he told. So they brought the sheikh and he said to him, go back from this religion, refuse it. He refused. That's why instead, this is the aqeedah goes in the heart. Nobody can take the aqeedah from your heart. So he brought the saw and he put it on top of his head and he cut him in his house. Then he brought the confidant, the one who was blind and given the sight. He said to him, leave your religion, this deen. He refused. Again, the saw was in his head and he would cut him in his half and he will not, even the two halves went like this. But yet the iman, as I said, when it goes in the heart, forget about the soul. So that's how the Prophet ﷺ, he had taught his companions in Mecca. Remember the hadith of Khabbab ibn al-Arat radiallahu anhu, when he said to him that, when Khabbab, he said, Messenger of Allah, can't you see what we are in? Just make dua for us. He said, in Mecca, people being tortured, and the Mecca is under the control of the mushrikeen. So the Prophet said to them, verily those before you is to be brought into the hole, and a saw will be brought to them and cut them in two halves, and an iron comb will be brought to be their flesh and comb their flesh away from their bones. But yet that will not take them from their religion. He's talking about him, about this monk, Prophet. He's talking about that confidant of the king. Now, after these two being killed in front of the boy, so they told the boy, go back from your religion. No, refused. Now, he doesn't want to kill him straight away. He wants to make him to at least, declare his detachment from this religion. So he commanded for him with his soldiers to take him to a mountain, to the highest, to the cliff. And then when you reach the highest point, the summit of the mountain, if he's defeated the religion, bring him back. Otherwise, just throw him and kill him. So they took him to the top of the mountain. And as soon as they were there, he said, Allahumma kfinihi bima shi'ta. And this is a dua, you learn it. Allahumma kfinihi bima shi'ta. When you see an enemy, oh Lord, suffice me, help me with whatever you think and you deem to be appropriate. So the mountain shook and they fell, and he came back walking to the king, very confident. So the king said, what happened to your, the ones who were with you? He said, Allah sufficed me. That means Allah killed them. So this is the dua that the Prophet ﷺ talked about. Allah will fulfill the dua. So he wanted to back him up from his religion. So he sent him with another group of soldiers. Take him in the boat, and when you are in the middle of the sea, if he refuses his religion, bring him back. Otherwise, throw him and drown him in there. Just book a stone or something, type a stone, and throw him in the water to kill him. He took him to the sea, and he said the same word, Allahumma kfinihim bima shi'ta. Ship toppled, and all of them drowned, and he came back, and the ship back again, and he is in the middle of it. Went back to the shore, went back to the king, and he said, what did happen to the soldiers? He said, Allah suffice me. And then he said to the king, you'll not be able to kill me. Look at this confidence. Allah, you're not going to be able to kill me until you fulfill what I tell you. So what is it? He said that you collect all the people and then you crucify me onto a trunk of a palm tree, and you bring an arrow from my own pouch, and then you put the arrow into the middle of that bow, and you say, Bismillah, the name of Allah, the Lord of the Ghulam. Then you throw that. Is this why you only kill me? So the king, he said, okay, well, I can't really kill you through what I've done. Let me kill you the easy way. So he collected the people. He didn't really understand the trick here. He had fallen off for the trick. He collected the people and he crucified him on the trunk of a tree, and took an arrow from that pouch of his, and then he put it in the bow, and he said with a louder voice, Bismillahi Rabbil Ghulam, in the name of Allah, the Lord of the Ghulam. And then he threw it, and the arrow went into his sudr. This is the eye, this is the sudr. They call it new temple, between the eye and the ear. And he put his finger into his sudr, and he died. So the people, they said, آمنا برب الغلام آمنا برب الغلام آمنا برب الغلام. That means we believe in the Lord of the Ghulam, the Lord of the boy, the Lord of the boy. We believe in the Lord of the boy. All of them believed. And that's how the Surah Al-Buruj talked about the trench. He dug them a trench and he started throwing them into the fire. Until one of the women, she had a baby with her. It's one of the 3 babies who spoke in the cradle. Or it could be a baby was a boy who was not spoken in the cradle. It was just a boy. And she hesitated to throw herself. So the boy said to her, throw yourself into the fire, Mum, for verily you are upon haqq. Isbiri, be patient, فإنك على الحق. And we believe it's not one or one of the boys who spoke in the cradle, but he spoke when he was young. The ones who spoke in the cradle are 3, Isa alayhi salam, and the one which is in the story of Jurayj, and the 3rd one is the one which was suckling from his mother. It's in a hadith which maybe we'll come to it inshallah. Prophet ﷺ talked about Uwais, if you remember. Uwais al-Qarni, the one who comes from Yemen. So he said to him, the Prophet ﷺ said to the companions that a man comes from Yemen. His name is Uwais. He is a person who is looking after his mother. And he had some leprosy. And he called upon Allah Azza wa Jalla, and Allah removed that leprosy. Except for a little, size of a dirham or dinar. You sees him, let him ask him for istighfar. Let him ask for dua. And that is why in the time of Khilaf of Umar al-Khattab, he had managed, because there's some people coming from Yemen, and he asked for Uwais. And Umar al-Khattab, he asked him to make istighfar for him, because his supplication was fulfilled, because he was very dutiful to his father and mother. And he called upon Allah Azza wa Jalla to, heal him from his own disease, and Allah gave him the healing. So this is now, but look at that. I'm just always wondering, subhanAllah, about Uwais. Uwais, he knew already that the Prophet ﷺ talked about him and his supplication is to be fulfilled. Yet, Umar al-Khattab asked him, Mu'awiyah ibn Sufyan asked him that, just stay here and we'll give you money, we'll give you salary, just stay here. And subhanAllah, he refused. Some people now, they don't have this from the Prophet of Allah. If their supplication somehow is being fulfilled, they come to him and then he says, yeah, this is my card, brother. He gives his card, this is my card. Allah al-Musta'an. This person wanted to say, I don't want any fame. I want to be my own. He knew that his supplication was fulfilled. Like Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas radiallahu anhu. Now, Abu Hurairah talks about a woman who is poor as well. Nothing in her house. She called upon Allah Azza wa Jalla. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had fulfilled her supplication. Let's go with the story. The story says that a man, he had so much poverty, couldn't have any food. So he went to the desert, outside. His wife, she made a supplication. Oh Lord, give us something that we could use it to make a dough. That is to make a khubz, like to dough and knead the dough and make the bread. Some wheat. So the man, when he went and he came, subhanallah, and he found the bowl is full of, dough. Where's it coming from? And also is in the tanur, which is the one who makes the bread, there is as well something. And then also he found, the mill to grind the corn to make it to wheat. So he said, how did you come this for? Where's this from? She said, from the rizq of Allah. So he started, cleaning around the mill. Prophet of Allah, he said, for verily, if she had to leave that mill, it would have been going. If she left the mill, she stopped. She left the mill going around, it would have been grinding until the day of resurrection. So if you are a person who is poor, try the dua. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you. Don't go into the banks and start, asking for riba and all of this. So also we talk to the wife, be satisfied, sister. And don't make your husband, spend so much money. Remember the dua, ya ikhwani. The dua is always going to get you beneficial. Whether it's going to be fulfilled straight away or it will be beneficial for later on. One of the great scholars called Hassan al-Basri, black person. Hassan al-Basri is black. And he was a great scholar. Emancipated slave. He was a slave and he made him emancipated. And there was a person he's a troublemaker. So Al-Hassan, because he's just a troublemaker and all the time harming him, so he made a dua, oh Lord, you know what harm he had done to us. Oh Lord, suffice us with what you deem to be fit. Look at this dua. You didn't also, oh Lord, kill him. Oh Lord, you know, Lord, what he's done to us as a troublemaker. He is a troublemaker. So, oh Lord, treat him the way he deserves. This is supplication. Straight away, as soon as he made this, the man fell and he was carried dead to his people. He didn't ask for death, but Allah, so that the fitting punishment for this person is that he's to die. And I know some brothers, he made supplication against somebody, wronged them. SubhanAllah. They went away and then didn't come back. He asked his cousin, maybe he's one of the listeners here, I don't know. I asked his cousin, what happened to that person? He said, Allah killed him because of your dua. He died. Prophet ﷺ, he said, a woman, she was in her house and she went in for helping the mujahideen, not to fight, but to nurse the wounded people. She left her sheep, and it was 12 sheep of hers. She left her needing the needle for you know, when you net the net needle. She left it. She's to net with it. When she came back, she counted the she goats, one missing, and also the netting needle, which is very important, is not there. So she said, oh Lord, you have guaranteed for the person who goes out for the sake of yours, that means for jihad, that you will keep his things. You're going to look after his things. And oh Lord, I have missed my sheep, or one of them, and I also my knitting needle. And Lord, I beseech you, and I beseech you. The Prophet, he said, the woman, she kept beseeching Allah for that she-goat that she's missing, and also for that knitting needle. Prophet, he said, the following day, she had her sheep and also something similar. So, she had not just 12, she had 24 now. And also double needle, not one needle for her knitting, double needle. So the dua is helpful, akhi. Make the dua, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will respond. Now, I finish now, before I get to the story, with a supplication of the person who is under dhulm. Don't make dhulm, akhi, and the supplication will be fulfilled. This is a story mentioned by somebody who says, by Allah, I know the story in person. And this person, we trust him, inshallah, as in because he's sheikh and abid and everything. This happened in Saudi Arabia. And this is a person who works in the Saudi Arabian municipality, one of the great cities. You know, the people who have got stalls, now the ones who are not being given the permission, they're not licensed, they go and make stalls on the street and they start selling. And as soon as they see the municipality man or the men, straight away they will flee. And I'm sure that when the people gone to Saudi Arabia, they've seen them running away from them. But they're not supposed to sell like this without being licensed, and because to keep the place clean and all of this. So he came to some people there and he said to them, leave, all of you. So all of them left, and then he went to there's a date man selling dates, person, oldish, let him leave. So all of them left, and he come back to him and still hasn't left. I said to him, didn't I tell you to leave? Why did you leave? Take your dates away. He said, everybody who just left has got cars taking their items, and I'm just waiting for my son or for my brother, I can't remember, son or brother, maybe brother, to come with his car to take my thing. He said, no, you're a liar. You're just defying my orders and commands. So with his foot, he kicked off all of the dates that he had, boxes and all of this, and he threw it on the floor. And the man looked, he said, Hasbi Allah wa ni'mal wakil. Hasbi Allah, Allah suffices me. And ni'mal wakil, the best to rely upon. The best to put your trust into him. Because he was truthful. And then he said, I will see you again, I will punish you. And all will. So the man started collecting the dates back. And what he did, actually just went from the pavement on the road, from the curb. Somehow he hit his foot onto it, just like somehow did something to his foot. He didn't really give it that attention to it. He went home. He felt there is pain in his foot. The foot that he kicked the dates with it. It's really getting greater and greater. So he told his brother. So his brother took him to the hospital. I don't know, the following day or the same day, he took him to the hospital. The doctor, with scanning, he said, you've got gangrene inside. We have to cut from the beginning of the foot. Gangrene. Am I pronouncing the word correctly or not? So,
gangrene.
Huh?
Gangrene.
Gangrene. Gangrene. It's not gangsters, is it? So, the brother of his said, no. Maybe this hospital is local. They took him to a Mustashfa Takhasusi, a well-known hospital there for these issues. The doctor scanned him. Yes, you've got gangrene inside. You have to remove. So they cut him the toes of his, the toes in the front. Sent him back. Still following day, more pain. Can't take it. Took him back to the hospital. Said, there is still gangrene inside taking place. And the man who's taking the story said, by Allah, I know this person. He said, by Allah, what happened? They cut it from where it starts, from the end, where it's near the waist. Cut it, all of it. They cut all of it. And still after they cut it, he still felt pain. The doctor, he said, after that, we cut not just the gangrene, we could cut to make sure that there's nothing but this pain. I'm asking you, Akhi, did you do something in your life? He still remembers, not a long time ago. It's maybe months or something. So he said, yes, I did. I think I have wronged the person. I have made dhulm, injustice on this person. So his brother took him in the car, and the doctor said to him, well, there's no solving of your problem unless you settle your account with this guy. He made maybe a supplication against you. So they took him in the car, and he went to the place where they used to, make their stalls and set their stalls. And the people were there, the ones who, where he threatened them to come back again, of course, except for that person. He asked, where is he? They told him that he lives in such and such village. He didn't come back after that. So they went to the village, and he even named the villages, but I can't remember the names now. He went to the village where he lives. Ya Allah. The one who's got his foot is cutting there in the car, and the brother is going there. He said, is there such a person? And he knew his name because the people told him was his name. He said, cell date. He said, it's me. He said, come with me to the car. So he came to the car. He said, do you know this person? And he can't see his leg now. It's been cut. You know this person? He said, how can I forget? I still have a grudge in my heart against him since that day. He had wronged me and made dhulm upon me because I was waiting for the car and he kicked my dates and all of that. He said, I beseech you by Allah to supplicate to Allah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would forgive him. And then he showed him, as soon as he looked at it, he said, oh Lord, khalas, I took my justice. Oh Lord, cure him. The man, he said, by Allah, the one who's got it, I feel the pain is gone. Straight away, he said, the pain is gone. Subhanallah. And that's the story that said the person is a sheikh, and he said it by Allah. He knows what has happened to that man. So be careful. Dua. And inshallah, next time, which is not going to be next week, and I think it's going to be next month, if somebody corrects me, it's the first 2 weeks of the month, unless we got 5 weeks in this month, 5 Jumu'ah. So let me just see my dates here. So we got, yes, we got 5 Jumu'ah. So next week, inshallah. That's good. Alhamdulillah. So next week we have as well St. Albans, and we have a, inshallah, special session for the supplication of the parents, make sure your children are watching, because they will benefit from this. I will be talking about the rights of your father, rights of your mother, the supplication of them, inshallah. To that time, I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to grant us the Iman and make us to die upon La ilaha illallah. And we'll go to the session of the questions, and I'll leave it to the co-host, inshallah. Tafadhal.
May Allah be good to you, Shaykhi. We've received 5 questions from the sisters in St. Albans today.
Now,
Can you show us how to say the 3 quls when you're going to sleep?
first you blow into your hand and then say the quls, which is Bismillah, to save the time. First, Qul huwallahu ahad, Qul a'udhu birabbil falaq, Qul a'udhu birabbin nas, and then you wipe from the top of it, from your, what you see, the upper part, upper side of your body. Second time, do the same thing. Third time, do the third thing, and that's how you do it. Second question.
Sister wants to know if she can teach classes to children on Zoom, but the child's father will be present.
No, she should not teach unless she knows 100% there's no men watching. You don't want the man to go and look at the women, and because she'll be in the camera and he would be enjoying himself. No, not allowed. Unless she knows 100% there's no men looking at her from her non-maharim. No.
Sister is saying, Sheikh, that in the summer, when the Salah of Isha is very late, can she read Surah Mulk before the Salah time?
I don't understand that question. It was I can't.
She wants to read Surah Mulk earlier than going to bed because she says Isha is too late for her in summer.
She's not going to do the Isha prayer?
I'm not. Yeah, good question. I'm not sure about that.
When you're sure about that, ask the question. So I don't understand. No.
Sister is asking, can a woman be, sister, if you just clarify your question and I'll ask the Sheikh. Sister is asking, can a woman be proposed to if another suitor has proposed to her but she didn't accept that proposal? Can she receive another proposal?
Doesn't matter if she hasn't gone yes or no. No problem that even other brothers can propose to her and she could accept other proposal, because they didn't accept yet. And once they accept, she's not allowed to take any proposal, or no other brother to present himself to be like a candidate after the agreement had taken place. Like khalas, within the agreement time, but before agreement, she could take proposals. No problem. But don't delay the person because she said, "Oh, got one bird in my hand now, so let me go look for other birds," and she delays him like this. No, but while she's thinking, the normal thinking, but not to use this. She start going to the website. I've got a proposal already. Anybody want to go faster? It's not allowed. But in the natural time of waiting, somebody came in, no problem. Now,
I've got another question. If you raise your hands now, so you'll be ready, inshallah. A sister wants to know if the expiation for a man approaching his wife in Ramadan, she's asking, is that the same for somebody who makes fornication in Ramadan?
Somebody who had fornicated in the month of Ramadan.
Yeah, she's asking, is it the same?
I understand. Let me just repeat. Just hang on a second. Somebody who fornicated in the month of Ramadan to a woman while he is fasting, is it the same expiation of the person who is intercourse with his wife while the fasting was obligatory upon him because he was not a traveler, he was not ill, and also his wife, same thing? Is it equivalent to the punishment? A very good question. Never heard of this before. Somebody fornicated, but hopefully this question is not a curiosity question. That it took place. No, it's not. I don't believe it's the same punishment. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. It is this punishment, it's an expiation. This person got no expiation. This person, he has to repent to Allah from this major sin. He has to repent to Allah and make as many voluntary days as possible to expiate. Whereas the other person, he's got set of things he will do it, khalas, everything's been finished. Which is, if he can't free a slave, fast 60 days. To fast 60 days and fast a day instead of that. Khalas. He guarantees now that his repentance is accepted. The other person, he doesn't know. He's to repent to Allah and fast as many days, and he doesn't know whether Allah forgave him or not. But this one, so once you have an expiation, alhamdulillah. That's why the oath that you expiate, okay, is alhamdulillah. But the oath which you don't expiate, for example, Yamin al-Ghamus, he's saying, by Allah, he did take my stuff and took my things, and he did not. There's no expiation for this one. It's not fasting 3 days or feeding 10 poor people. Can't do that. Because this is a major thing. Because no expiation. Because no expiation is major. More trouble. Because you got expiation, alhamdulillah, khalas. You fulfilled. It's like you've been penalized. You paid your penalty. Here you don't know what is the penalty. Penalty is not known. So you don't know how to do it. You just repent to Allah and make weeping during the night and asking Allah Azza wa Jal and all of this. Just like a person killing somebody deliberately. There is no fasting 6 days and all of this. It's not going to be no qatl al-amd. This is qatl al-khata. Yes, wrong. Then you fast 60 days, but not the amd. You have to repent to Allah. And like he came to Abdullah ibn Abbas, he said, "Do you have a mother? Go and be righteous to her. Maybe she will expiate." Because he said, "I can't find anything that would expiate for such a thing except that to be dutiful to your mother." Now, so let's go please to the. We have lots of questions and. When you ask too many from the panel, people get bored, yeah, Ahmed.
Please go ahead, Faisal. Sorry, Sheikh.
Ask 1 or 2 questions, even it is priority for these people. But ask.
I will do that from now on, sir.
And then it's boring to ask, and people. No. Tfaddal ya Faisal.
Sheikh, I hope you're feeling better today. This is a follow-up question from yesterday, Sheikh. Just to clarify, I know Eid-ul-Adha is coming up, and somebody posed a question yesterday. You said the Udhiyah, 10 families can share in a cow. I just wanted to hear that correctly. You're saying from this, I always thought it was 7, the maximum.
No, I said camel. What is this here? I said camel, akhi. Cows, no, 7 in both cases. I said camels. I didn't. You could go to this to recording. I said the camels are 7 in the going for the 7, and cows is 7 in the going to Hadi. But for the Udhiyah, camels go to 10. Cows always 7 in both cases. Now,
thank you for clarifying, Sheikh. Barakallahu feekum.
Please go ahead, Abu Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam alaikum.
Sheikh, I had a question. If you've wronged someone but you can't find them, how do you fix that up?
If you wrong them and you can't find them,
yeah,
tough, very tough. You ask Allah Azza wa Jal that to make you to find this person to go and settle your account with him. Otherwise, you just ask Allah Azza wa Jal to be your protector on the day of resurrection, because he might put his sins on top of you if you don't have hasanah. No, just ask Allah Azza wa Jal. No, make it
The sister is clarifying that she wants to read Surah Mulk before Isha because Isha is too late. The Salah is too late for her, she said.
It's the same question, Akhi, but is she going to pray in Isha or not? That's the whole question I'm asking. Clarification I want.
She's praying Isha
on the time or not? Hello?
That I don't know, Sheikh.
So that's the clarification I want. Is she going to be praying Isha, or she doesn't want to pray Isha? If she's going to pray Isha on time, then I can't understand what is the 3 minutes of Surah Al-Mulk. Surah Al-Mulk, what is this? I mean, it's not really that. It's just only 2 pages and 2 lines. That's it. It's not really that much. So she can't really stay for 5 minutes extra? That's why I asked her, does she pray on time or not?
She's saying she's going to pray on time, yeah.
Then she reads it when she goes to bed, inshallah.
Jazakallah khairan, ya Shaykh.
Hayakumullah. And she, inshallah, after she masters it, reading it, tabarakalladhi, she will, inshallah, do it quickly. She will become like, Surah Al-Kahf now doesn't take about 15 minutes with recitation quickly. Now,
go ahead, Abu Yusuf.
Yeah, a clarification to last week's question. Brother is married to a non-Muslim. They have a child, and he's given a middle non-Muslim name to the child, the middle name, not the first name. Is this permissible.
Why does he need to give the middle name a non-Muslim name? I don't understand that. Why?
His, I think it's ties of kinship with the non-Muslim family is one of the reasons I believe.
Okay, we don't have middle name in Islam.
No.
We should tell him that the person's name, like let's say you're gonna name this person Bilal. So the following name, it will be his name, this person's name. What's his name? The person is asking the question, his name. Let's say his name is, Alexander. Alexander. And you want to keep Alexander, no problem. So he will be Bilal ibn Alexander. That's how it is. No, there's no middle name. Don't confuse the child from like the Bangladeshi and Pakistani. That's how they confuse the people. The brother is called Ahmad Ali and the other one Khan something. You brothers? I don't even brothers. Because they put these names in. And the father name is not there. The father name is different from the family name. So if you understand how the names, then you will have no problem with this. So you cannot put names from, let me just choose a name from the mother's side and choose a name from the father's side and choose a name from the cousin's side. No, you give the person one name. Let's say Ahmad, Bilal. But if your name is, for example, Alexander, you embrace Islam, you don't have to change your name. You only change your name if your name creates a problem in religion. Like your name is Paul. Paul is a liar. Don't Paul, no. Paul, Paola, and all of that, change it. But if your name is something which the Christian people don't know, for example, Isa, no problem. You don't have to change your name, akhi. Stay with Isa. Or because for example, Maria, Prophet of Allah got Maria. He never changed her name. She's a Muslim. She's the mother of Ibrahim. She's one of those women who had intercourse with the Prophet ﷺ, but she was not a wife. She was from the slaves. Maria, Rayhana. These are not Arabic names. And they have Pakistani name called Rayhana. So you could say, but so this is how to do it, inshallah. And please, when you say clarification on last week, I don't remember the question last week. Yeah, sometimes I'm going to ask the question again. I don't really know what I had just for food. About half an hour. I remember now. I had some lamb chops. Fadal.
Please go ahead, Mustaq. I didn't see you, brother. Go ahead.
Assalamualaikum alayk. Sheikh, regarding the prayer of repentance, is there a specific dua that we should read in it, or can we read in English when we're in sujood?
For dua, istighfar, so for repentance?
You know, is there 2 rakats that you can pray for repentance?
You make, when you make repentance to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you could repent straight away. And you could do 2 rak'ah as well to repent to Allah, but this is not called 2 rak'ah repentance. I don't like the word Salatul Tawbah. Okay? But you could pray 2 rak'ah and repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It will be good, better.
Okay, barakallah fik.
Na'am, wa baraka fik. Fika barak.
So, admin 2, go ahead, please, brother.
This praying of the 2 rak'ah is actually from the way it is that فَأَتْبِعِ السَّيِّئَةَ الْحَسَنَةَ, follow the bad deed with a good deed. Straight away. So as soon as you did something bad, do something good to encounter it. Straight away. Do something good. So give sadaqah, for example, to encounter that bad deed. Naam.
Sheikh, it's a question for myself. If you have stuff and the non-Muslims praise it constantly, how can you prevent evil eye? Is there a supplication? Because obviously they're not Muslims. They don't say MashaAllah, Allah Mubarak or anything like that. Is there something that we can do to prevent the evil eye from them?
He does them. If you tell them to say MashaAllah, it will work. It will work if he says, but he says, what? What are you talking about? If he says MashaAllah, it works. But you protect yourself from the evil eye yourself as well. So if you've got a child or something, already okay, that's dua you say to the child. Okay, so basically the person who's a believer, he's a fortress. Once he mixes his adhkar, he's protected. And the kuffar, إِيَّكَادُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا لَيُزْلِقُونَكَ بِأَبْصَارِهِمْ لَمَّا سَمِعُوا الذِّكْرَ. Allah said about these kuffar, they used to even make an enemy on the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you triple or break your leg or something, with their eyes, evil. Okay, so, but we don't really say he would say to you, touch wood. No, we don't touch wood. Even you touch wood and metal and everything, they're not going to work. This is shirk. You could take that as a way to make da'wah to Allah, to them. Do you know something that, do you believe in evil eye? Because you're not an evil eye. Well, what is an evil eye? He said, when, you know, we believe as Muslims that if the person had admired something, to say, MashaAllah, Tabarakallah, that Allah's, you know, MashaAllah, Tabarakallah, Allahumma barik, Allah will give barakah into it. This is what we learned. So it would be better to disinfect anything that comes from the person. I'm not saying that you are wishing for my thing to be demolished, but this is better. So would you like to say it? And you take it like as an opportunity for da'wah, inshallah. I know it's hard, but you try it. Yalla ya Mikael Andrade. Michael. No, Michael, not Mikael.
Yes, Sheikh.
Naam.
Trophy hunting. My cousins, they go hunting, buffalo hunting. Then they keep the heads of the buffaloes in their houses. Is it allowed?
Your family makes hunting
Yes.
in this country?
No. Abroad.
I was going to ask me the phone number, so go and hunt with them. Hunting the buffaloes, and what they're doing to the heads?
They keep the head as a trophy.
So do they eat the buffalo? They don't.
Yeah. They eat the meat. And then the head is you know, they
stuff it.
Yeah, exactly.
They stuff it to make it. Okay.
No. Sorry. So they don't stuff this one. They wait until the flesh rots. So it's only the skeleton, only the skull remains. Yeah. So they keep the skull as a trophy.
Yeah. Well, to keep an animal which is stuffed and everything, it is real halal. It's halal, but I'm having some problem. Why that this person cannot eat the head? The head cannot be eaten.
No, they eat the flesh. But once the flesh is eaten, only the skull remains.
Oh, you mean the bone? The bone.
Just the bone. That's right.
No,
just the
no problem. No problem.
No problem. Yeah.
So were they trying to scare people with it, or they're trying?
No.
I would like to go to a house who got skeleton there. No. طيب جزاكم الله خيرا, and I would like to say جزاكم الله خيرا وبارك الله فيكم. Do the Maghrib prayer. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.